My biggest upset with when it comes to Amazon fees isn't in America, it's actually in UK. So there's three aspects to a successful business model, and I feel that Amazon did it very well, which is that Amazon makes money, the seller makes money, and the customer gets a good deal.
That was my 70s martial arts movie impression.
Yes, yeah, that was when they used to do talkovers, but the timing was so bad that it was incredibly humorous.
It was so good. Yeah. It was so good. Technology just wasn't quite ready for it back then, like it is now. So what's new with you guys? How you both doing?
Everything is changing everywhere. On everything so fast, and I can't keep up anymore. So I decided to move to the Himalayan mountains and become a monk.
I love that.
When in Rome, do like the Romans.
Now, a lot happening on Amazon with this whole Black Friday thing, and what you have to do nowadays to stay on top or in the marketplace. You have to really commit martyrdom on your profit, basically, to stay in there. And I get that, but it's
what do you mean by martyrism? Like, you give it away for a crazy stupid price? What do you mean?
Well, you're just giving it all to Amazon, and it's basically a giant charity.
It's a 501c.
I wish that Amazon was a charity, because I at least feel good that how much money they're
yeah, exactly. Like, it's at least right? At least you're getting the rainforest back, right, at the end of the day. But no, it's not the case.
It's funny, like, they don't take any cut. Like, when there's a deal or something, like, they're forced. You can not run any deals for Black Friday, but they don't cut their fees at all, right? So the seller has to take all the hit, and they take zero hit on Black Friday. They're they're gonna crush it in profit. The profit goes way up. They don't even their margin percentage doesn't decrease at all, because they make the exact same fee. Well, I guess they make their 15% might be a little bit lower. I guess that's where their referral fee.
I think we should make a suggestion to Amazon and basically tell them that we would like a Black Friday special on our fees from Amazon. We would like 20% minimum on the fees, if not greater. I don't think they'll go for it, but can't hurt to try. They should give the sellers a deal during this time period, is all I'm saying.
They should. Yeah. If we're going to give 20% off, they should give us 20. They should give us 20%.
Yeah, my biggest upset with when it comes to Amazon fees isn't in America; it's actually in UK. So,
really?
when you break down a sale, you've got the 30% COGS, 30% Amazon fees, and then typically you have that 40%, which is typically your profit and advertising mixed. They take 20% of that and they call it VAT. And so, and they don't share in any of the, they just take 20% off the top. So you're now left with 20% to turn a profit and advertising, which I feel is just is pretty cutthroat.
Yeah, it is pretty nasty. I guess that's why you have to mark up your prices in Europe. And that's probably why, I know, but then if you ask, some competitors don't mark up the prices, then you're not price competitive, then you're just screwed because you can't make any volume. So in the end, you basically have to pay nothing to buy your product. Here's the verdict of all this. Always look for a product that you can have a 10x markup on.
10x.
The 9x or the 10x should cover all these additional fees they have to pay to sell that product. There's so many fees to sell a product. If anyone can figure out how to sell a product for free, they're brilliant, and those are the best business models. The gross margin is after everything is 93%.
And you know what that's called? That's called a service-oriented business, and that's what an agency does. Yes.
Yeah, to some degree.
Don't tell anybody.
Service.
Well, it's not necessarily. It's not profit, because it's expertise and time and hard work. Don't get me wrong. We work our asses off, but the business model is different. Like on Amazon, your typical profit is 20%, and you pay everybody and then some. And could be less, but that's just kind of a typical. But with a service oriented business, whether you're roofing or whatever, you're paying for time, and so it's the percentage is a lot higher.
That's true. I mean, there's different business models for different things, right? But service-oriented business, service in particular, you have a higher cost of pay rate usually. So now, if you're starting an agency, let's say, and you're going to service a bunch of clients and other people, then if you're going to hire an American, your payroll might be 60% or 70% very easily. And now if you're really smart with payroll and you have a bunch of contacts that can do in other countries for a cheap price, then your payroll might be 20 or 30%. And you're like, yay, you cut that back. But most agencies that I know, their payroll is running above 50%. Way above,
Payroll is
right?
the challenge of an agency. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
because if service equals payroll, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's time. You're giving people time, valuable time of people. Right? So then software, now you have expenses associated with that too. You have, you need server space. You have to invest in programmers, also payroll. Programmers are expensive, by the way, good ones. And then hosting and a bunch of other stuff. Now, given that, so software at the beginning is very unprofitable because you have to pay for all the same prices of all those things while you don't have the revenue volume.
Yeah, you have to get a certain amount of users per month to get to break even profitable. But once you get there, it's amazing. Yeah.
So if you can pass, so if you're a good salesman and you have good marketing and your software can pass that break even or make break point, and then your users pass your payroll and bills, now you're home free. But a lot of software startups fail because they can never market well enough, or there's not enough demand for their software.
The lead time.
That they can't get past that, and then they shut it down.
Yeah. One thing that I would say, well, why do you hire an agency versus doing yourself is because of our payroll. Like we have experts that do account health, design, listing, every aspect of the Amazon business, and we've already kind of put that together and put the stress, put the SOPs, put the structure. And so when you're hiring a team of experts that can come in and instantly add value on day one, versus trying to do it yourself, because you don't realize how many hundreds of videos and pages of SOPs that have been created, and how many times we've worked with these people, hired and fired, to get everything to the point where the value can be added on day one. And people might say that's easy, and it's not. It's a pain in the ass, and I'm sure that I'm sure you can relate.
I mean, you have to think of it like the Speedy system with McDonald's, right? If you ever watched the
love that movie. I love that movie.
yeah. So it's a Speedy system. You know, when you're buying a franchise at McDonald's, you're buying the Speedy system, right? And you go, well, I'll create my own Speedy system. You're like, good luck.
Yeah.
It might take you 10 years if you can do it, right? I mean, your own little proprietary Speedy system that you invented, and you SOP'd out and you wrote all those little books on how to do it and all that stuff. And so, like, if you have, now, a lot of Amazon sellers, big ones, they have done that. They spent 10 years or 5 years bringing that in-house, and they really did a good job of, here, this person is for this department, this person's here, they train, they apprentice them, they position them there, they're ready to go, they're producing, and then they manage them with HR and performance reviews and so on and so forth, right? And if you can do all that in-house, it's off to you, but you're not going to do it in 1 month.
No.
Even hiring a new person, they're not going to be really valuable for 2 or 3 months.
Absolutely not.
So, and you can't just have your business just go by the wayside while it's collapsing because you have no one really running things, right? So, so now you hired one person and they take 3 months to really get on board. They hire another person. The other person only takes 2 weeks. But again, it just takes, it's going to take you time. But in the interim, you got to find delivery. You still have to continue to deliver your products to customers and market and make income.
Yeah. One thing that I would say about that is it sounds good. You're super excited about the person coming on, but you don't realize that the apprentice, the training, putting together all of that essentially doubles your work in the first month. And it could make it suffocate your actual business from actually making money, because you're spending all your time trying to train this person. And this is when you have no SOPs. That first employee, you have no structure, no SOPs. You're kind of figuring it out as you go. And that person might not even be the right fit. And you might have to hire a few people. And you end up 6 months later and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to hire an agency. This is freaking garbage.
yeah, that's honestly more times than not, like that is what happens. I went through this process. Like when I had having my own Amazon account, and I hired my first employee, and then second and third and fourth, and I was the one training them. I was the one doing screen sharing. It was exhausting. Holy shit, exhausting. Like I would go to bed at 7 o'clock, like, ooh, like completely dead. The amount of talking and training I'd have to do to get them to understand what was happening in my mind so I can delegate that part of the business, whether it was customer service, even something as simple as customer service, review management, marketing, PPC. Oh my God, PPC. Delegating PPC took me years to figure out how to train people to do it.
Yep.
Not to mention, I've counted the number of people that I've hired, right? 112 people I've hired over the last 10 years for specifically Amazon. And 18 people was the remaining after those, right? So now the odds of keeping that person that you hired long term, probably 1 in 5, right? So
terrible.
And if you're really good, you'll get rid of them really quick and replace them, right? And then you go through another training period. So you learn, you learn to cope with that, and then learn how to hire someone fast, and then train them fast, apprentice them fast, get them producing or not producing because they can't, and then firing fast.
Hire and fire.
You have to, so everything's about speed, right? And if you learn to do that really fast, you're golden. But the thing is, like, we've done that, and we spent 10 years doing that, and that's where we are today. And that's why we have a system. Yeah. We have the Speedy system for Amazon.
Absolutely. I mean, there's before the Speedy system, it used to take 30 minutes to get a cheeseburger. So, I mean, the combined experience of Amazon on this call, I know that I've been doing it for 8. You've been doing it for about 10. Is that right, Michael? 9, 10?
13. So, yeah, 11 years.
Wow. And Ian, how long have you been doing Amazon? It's about 8 years, something like that?
Never even really did Amazon. I just pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
So that the combined experience of being on the space and hiring the teams and going through all the changes and nonsense. I mean, SOPs a lot of times come from working with somebody and you're like, you know what? Like, these are the points that you need to kind of dial in. They need to follow the structure, but you don't even have an SOP on that first training call. You're essentially what I like to call is winging it, because the habits that you have and the way that you do things sometimes has to be translated to another, and you have to simplify it and break it down into steps. That sometimes can take months, and can take hiring and firing 10 people to get it so that one person can do it like half the speed that you do it. It may be a quarter of the speed that you do it. So it's very, very tiring.
Let me tell you what my skill set is. My skill set is finding guys like you that are really smart.
Let's back up, because let's back up into Ian's world a little bit. Boom. So Ian is, and probably always will be, Ray Kroc. The reason why is because Ian is the one that found McDonald's Brothers and decided to turn it into a franchise. He saw the opportunity. Right? Yeah. So Ian was like, "Hey, you guys." So Eric, Michael, and all my other people, you guys have a Speedy system.
You're this close to going Trump.
I'm going to franchise your Speedy system, and I'm going to make a ton of money off of it, and everybody's going to make a ton of money off of it, and you're going to make a ton of money off of it, and we're all going to win, because I found and put together all these Speedy systems in different places. And so Ian is up there in his bird's nest of Amazon, watching Amazon and going like that's Fantasia with Mickey Mouse.
I'm looking for opportunity. I definitely can relate to Ray when he walks up, he pays the 25 cents for the meal, and the guy hands him a bag, and he goes, "Where do I eat it?" And the guy's like, "I don't know, in your car, anywhere." Oh, yeah. You just eat it out of the bag. And he's like, "I don't get it,"
And then he goes, "Franchise," right? Like, he just like, boom, and he blows it up.
I can relate to that moment when oh God.
One thing I would say is that
but Ian, the difference is, like Ray Kroc, Ian has been on the ground, right? He has been in the trenches. Yeah. He has been in the kitchen flipping burgers too, and he has had an Amazon account, and he's looked under the hood of all the Amazon accounts, and he knows the Speedy system really well. Does he know all the little nuances of the burger flipper and the French fry?
Can I actually do a flat file? No, I cannot.
There's 3 aspects to a successful business model, and I feel that Amazon did it very well, which is that Amazon makes money, the seller makes money, and the customer gets a good deal. And Ian saw an opportunity, and he created a situation where he makes money, the team leads make money, and the brands make money, and so everybody wins. And so he brought expertises to the brands that could help essentially double, triple. I mean, I've worked with some brands where we've taken them like 10x, and so in that situation, that expertise saves them years, and so it's creating that win-win kind of environment for everybody.
I mean, also it's a good feeling when you like. I've taken people from zero to $750,000 a month. Over doing this type of career. I've taken some people from zero to 100K. Taken like from startups. Literally, startups go to over $1 million in sales in a few months. And it's everybody's winning. Like the business model that everybody wins, and Amazon to some degree made that, right? Amazon goes, hey, everybody's gonna win, customers are gonna win, we're gonna win, you're gonna win, and maybe now the seller's gonna win a little bit less every year, a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, until we're gonna win more and more and more.
It's trickle down economics.
The business model that everybody wins is, of course, everybody's going to flock to it.
Yeah, the cost people. I hate to bring up politics, but they always talk about taxing the big person, but they don't realize it's called trickle down economics. If you make the large corporations pay more, the product that the consumer purchases just costs a little bit more. So it essentially affects everybody. So when Amazon increases the fees, like they actually kind of control the inflation on Amazon with the new fees, with the tariffs that are going to come. Things are going to continue to go up, but it will make it so that American manufacturing will be kind of have a chance. I actually like American manufacturing for a lot of different products, provided you can get it at the right price point. But I'm excited and interested to see what happens in this next year.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, going into tariffs and everything, like, if you were to go political with it, I mean, if you're going down there's a lot of things that should be made in America. There's a lot of stuff that just America should frickin' make this. Like, come on, guys. Why do you have to buy from China? Why do you have to buy skincare from China? Why do you have to buy supplements from China? Why do you have to it's a food. This is beauty. This should be made in America, right? Like, let's put tariffs on it. This is ridiculous. But we're not going to make the cheap Tupperware plastic shit and have plastic factories all over the place. And so, if you were to provide me a giant list of consumer goods and I had a red marker and I'd be like, let's tariff this, let's tariff this, let's tariff this. We don't want to make this. We don't want to make, here's a green marker. We don't want to make this, or vice versa, right? We don't want to make this. We don't make this. We don't make this. This will all be made in the third world countries or China or whatever. They can make this garbage. Right. And apparently there's a demand for the garbage, but we don't want to make it. We don't want to contaminate our air with plastic factories and all this other stuff.
Interestingly enough, speaking of contaminating the air, in Pakistan, due to manufacturing, they actually have lockdowns right now due to the air quality, that's quite interesting, because when you're making plastic in certain sort of industries, like, it truly destroys the planet, the environment, and that sounds horrible. So some of that stuff, I'm happy that it's not done here. And unfortunately, in a perfect world, it'd be nice if we could actually find a way to do it without making certain types of products. But I don't see that in the near future. And people always take that too far. Next thing you know, you got paper straws in plastic wrappers, which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So it's difficult to have a perfect environmental product at this point.
The paper straws and plastic wrappers is the most hilarious freaking, oh my God. Like,
is that really a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. They do that. And because of so you originally had the turtle problem with the straw, right? And then the turtle in the ocean got a straw stuck in its mouth. And then, of course, now plastic straws are illegal. So then COVID happened and no one can freely just pick up straws and contaminate it because we're putting our mouths on them, right? So then they started putting things in plastic wrappers. And of course, naturally, you have to put a straw in a plastic wrapper to prevent contamination and hands touching all these straws in our container. So of course, paper straws make their way into plastic wrappers because of all these evolutions of events that we've had in the world. But then you forget, and this is what's obviously, you forget the purpose. Why did we switch to paper straws, right? And why do we switch a lot of things to paper bags, to whatever, right? It's because of pollutions, because of waste, because of landfills. And then that's the purpose of the paper straw. That's the purpose of the paper bag. That's the purpose of whatever, right? But there's also then you start just forgetting the purpose of it because now it's a law, but the law has become obsolete and you're starting putting things in plastic. So it's just these things aren't like the 10,000-foot view goes away and people are looking at things like this and they don't see the picture of the purpose, the reason, understand the scene, observe, etc.
Absolutely. Well, there's one instance of this that I found humorous. So if you're ever abroad, like in England or going to kind of maybe liberal parts of the U.S., you'll notice that they charge for plastic bags, and they say it's for the purpose of the environment. But I honestly just think it's capitalism at its finest.
10 cents for a plastic bag. Yep.
I mean, it's genius.
California started
Also
doing
in the
that.
U.S.,
like 15
imagine
years
if
ago.
your bags were made in your neighborhood. You know, those plastic bags. You don't want those plastic bags made in the U.S. Like, you do not want those made here. You do not want them made down the street from your house.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've been to China. I'm sure you've been there before, Michael. When I was
have.
there, it was the one thing I didn't see, and I don't know if it was just me, but I didn't see any animals. Didn't see any dogs, cats, or birds, and I thought that was strange. I also noticed that my throat hurt like the whole time that I was there, and I also thought that was strange. What was your experience? Did you ever go to Iwu by chance?
I did. I went to Iwu, I went to Guangzhou, I went to a few places. But
Iwu is the most disgusting. Did you go to the manufacturing capital with the walk around and you go to the bathrooms?
oh yeah.
That was
I've
the
been
most
in
disgusting thing I ever saw in my whole life.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was in a third world country for sure, and there was a lot of just garbage in some streets, and it was you really got an idea. Like, I mean, I rode on transportation there, looking out the window and just seeing like, you know, you see a nice apartment building, and right next to it, you see one that's half demolished and torn apart, and people are still living in it, you know, and it's just like, whoa, what is going on? And this is like communism at its finest, you know, but it just shows the reflection of the morality of the people, their happiness level, their willingness to contribute to their neighbor and their neighborhood and improve things around them and improve their environment is just not there.
Yep.
So, and then, you know, and you go, well, there could be several causes of that. And you go, well, maybe pollution. They're tired all the time. Maybe they're breathing in bad air. Their bodies are fatigued. And maybe it's just that if they feel like they contribute or earn money or do things to help, the government takes too much of it. And they're like, what's the point? You know, so I'm sure there's a lot of factors. But yeah, it was not Guangzhou. It was I stayed in the Four Seasons Hotel on the 88th floor in Guangzhou.
I like Guangzhou. Yeah.
Guangzhou was pretty. It was definitely like, okay, this is Washington D.C. of China or whatever, you know. But Iwu was it was tough. And then I found manufacturers, but it was just I ended up only working with one of them because I don't know. It was all shady. It was all shady shit going down. Everything seemed shady.
Yeah. I agree. I stayed at like the equivalent of the Four Seasons there, and it was where I stayed was epic. And Guangzhou to me was very nice. They said it was the banking capital. I really liked it. It was the first time I ever saw a light show on a skyscraper, things like that. It was a very cool city. Iwu was the bathrooms there literally. You could possibly faint due to the smell. Like it was just, I don't know. There's a reason why we have standards, and it was too much. But I really liked Guangzhou, and I did go on a few rides that I like. I told my partner that I was with at the time. I said, this is probably the last time they're ever going to see us, because we left in a van with people that didn't speak English to go to a manufacturer that also didn't speak English, and had the whole conversation was almost. It was only a few words. It was how much, and they would click on the calculator and they'd show you something. I go too much, and they go and they show it to me again. So I found it to be an interesting experience. Now some of them spoke better English than others, but for the most part, a lot of the how much, too much, and the calculator was a lot of the repetition that I saw.
Oh, I had a translator with me when I went.
Well, that was smart.
Yeah,
I've never been.
Yeah.
You got to go to China to experience it at least once. You know, make it add to your bucket list.
Yeah, I went to Macau. Macau was nice.
Because why not, right? You know, like, hey, I can tell a story. I was in China for 3 weeks, and I'd be like, because I was in China for 3 weeks. It was cool. It's a good story.
Yeah,
China.
One thing I would
China.
say is that you have no
They're
YouTube,
eating the dogs.
Google, no
They're
Facebook.
eating the cats. That's why you don't find any pets in China.
Well,
Oh, really?
you'd probably be buying pets from the grocery
No,
store.
I don't know. I'm just quoting Donald Trump. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cat.
Oh, that was from that whole situation in Ohio.
I know.
The Haitians. Yeah,
It's a worldwide problem.
Have you been able to get any of our clients' products on these influencer videos on Amazon where they like literally spend 30 minutes and do a video on Amazon? I'm just trying to what is the path to getting one of these actually done? What's the path here? She earns commissions.
Well, this is from the Amazon Creator Platform.
Yes. Thank you. I just lost the word there. So what's the process for our audience who's listening? What's the process to actually getting your products on there? Is it really up to the creators to pick your product and that's it?
Through the campaign manager.
Yeah, it's through a campaign manager.
Okay.
We've done a few of them. It hasn't been incredible up to this point. However, I do believe that I believe that Amazon rolled this out before they rolled out the it's showing on the consumer app, and I do feel like they're also doing some stuff to work in tandem with TikTok, and I do feel like they are pushing that program. So it's very likely that is going to improve. Speaking of TikTok, I had a meeting with a TikTok catalog manager for some large brands, and he told me that the review trick is working again. He said that they're rolling it out, and it's Yotpo 2.0. So just wanted to let everybody know that per TikTok, it's supposed to be working again. I do think that it's possible that TikTok might have just kind of out of bottlenecking, might have chose a few apps to kind of make it a little bit easier, but they said that it should be operational this week.
Yotpo 2.0. Well, I'll believe it when I see it, but that's really good news.
Yeah. I thought it was.
You can now sync reviews from Shopify to TikTok.
What's that?
So you can now, in a week, when they finish fixing it, resync or sync your reviews from Shopify to TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can start that process where they drip in. I did have some success early on, but it was no means like you click a button and hundreds of reviews were populating. It was more of a drip, essentially, like they were dripping in over a period of time.
And what's the process for someone who doesn't have a Shopify? If they're just an Amazon brand, they got 2,000 reviews on Amazon. What's the process for them look like?
Well, if you're on Amazon and you don't have a website, first of all, that's an out point. I would say that you should get on WordPress, Shopify, Magenta. There's some sort of platform that you should possibly be on, but you do need a intermediary to import and to export from. So, and Shopify makes it the easiest. So I would definitely recommend. I have seen one of the other team leads showing some app that came directly from Amazon, but I can't speak of its if it worked or not. Every one that I've done has been through Shopify or WordPress, and that's what I would recommend.
So Yotpo allows you to pull from Amazon to your Shopify, and then from your Shopify to TikTok. Is that the flow?
Well, Yotpo is very interesting, but yes, you can essentially you can import from any of the popular review apps, and then there is an other, and so with the other, use a template, and if you match the template to the other, then yes, you can. So you might want to do like a multiple step process where you use some app to import your Amazon, and then a manually, or if it imported to the correct app, you could then use the second step to import it to Yotpo, and then of course the third final step, which would be the connection to TikTok and syndication.
Okay, got it. Okay, yeah. So the question is going to be, how well does that work starting next week with 2.0, which we'll find out.
Yeah, but it got to the point like that it was almost like they stopped returning even emails or even help requests of any kind. So it seemed as if it was completely off. So them saying that, and this came from a TikTok employee, they said it's back on starting this week. That to me, that was kind of put some optimism back into the review syndication.
Okay, I like it. So Michael, how's your week diving into Vendor Central? Has everything been working for you pretty good there with Vendor?
Oh yeah, I mean, honestly, the nuances between vendor and seller, it's just everything's the same, it's just in different places.
Okay,
like honestly, it's, you just have to learn the mapping. Luckily I have experience in Vendor Central, but The mapping is just different. Like you have promotions, you have advertising, you have all the same. You have coupons, you have SNS coupons, you have lightning deals, you have all these things. Just how you do it is different, right? The layout's different, and there's other things to consider in vendor. But otherwise, it's been fairly easy. I mean, for like even uploading assets, just a different tab. It's just different than normal in Seller. For Seller Central, of course, but otherwise it's to navigate it. It's all the same shit.
I do have one thing to add about the TikTok, if you don't mind going back to that
Go for
topic. So they sent us a link, and this article came out November 14th, 2024, and it's the all new. I like how they emphasize new to kind of showing that it's a 2.0. This came out roughly 8 days ago. It's the all new Yapo review overview. And so this article, which I can send to you and you can share in the video if you like. This gives a basic walkthrough on how to set it up. So far, I don't see anything that differs entirely, but I do think that it would be good to follow it and just make sure that you're doing everything the same as they did say in the beginning of the article, new. So there might be something, but just based on looking at it, it looks very similar.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it basically it just works now, or it's going to work, but the process is basically the same, but now it'll work.
Yeah, basically they planted a seed of optimism, and but again, seeing is believing.
Got it.
Yeah, but it's
Okay,
exciting
guys.
because there was no optimism, so that's it. It's always nice to see some optimism.
Love it. Well, let's end with optimism. I think we all have a little bit of a schedule crunch today, so let's call it. Very, very interesting stuff on TikTok with Yapo. I think that's the big takeaway here is that starting next week, your review problems should be solved. Cross your fingers. And if they're not solved, feel free to comment that Eric's a liar on our YouTube channel.
Please, thank you.
Eric is a liar. That would be the hashtag.
Yep.
And
Trending right now.
it's already trending. We haven't even published the recording and it's trending.
Boom.
All right, guys. Well, have a great weekend, everybody. We got Thanksgiving coming up next week. I hope everyone's ready for turkey.
Don't forget to not subscribe.
Please don't. I beg you.
And
I
by
beg
all
everybody
means,
not to.
whatever you do not like the video at all.
No. Dislike.
Don't click like.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go to the gym and question my existence today.
There you go.
That's the place to do it.
Brilliant. I love it.
question
Me too.
All right, guys. Talk
I'm
later.
gonna sit here and do that though. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.
Give it.